Be back in a second. Hi there, this is Jay Jacobs again with another episode of Going Beyond the Scale. I am extremely pleased to be able to share with you an amazing woman, someone who is a 105-year young runner who I just found out a few minutes ago that actually I interviewed her to this day 2 years ago. And so I want to be able, let's bring Julia on. I want to introduce you to Julia Hurricane Hawkins. Thank you, Julia, for being here today.
You're welcome.
Julia is in Louisiana, and I'm here in New York area. And she mentioned that I was speaking a little bit fast, and I told her that was that kind of being around New York, even though we had COVID. We all tend to speak a little faster, so I promised her I would speak a little bit slower. So I wanted to be able to tap back in and get Julia to share some of what she's been up to, because I was reading last month Runner's Magazine, and there in Runner's Magazine, no surprise, was Julia, who all of a sudden I'm going like, yeah, that's right. When I talked to her last, she was 102, and now she's 105. And I'm reading this article that she's talking about what she's doing and how she's been running. And when I had originally interviewed her with her book that she wrote, I was amazed at how much amazing memory she had and recall for that was in her book and what she shared. So I asked Julia to come back on because she's still running, she's still moving, she's still living life strong. And I thought it'd be great if she kind of just gave us some, ideas about people talk about living a long life. But what I love about the long life that she's lived is it's been, as she says in her book, it's been wondrous. Truly, it's been wondrous in the way that she's lived and what she's done, from how she's raised her family, how she's helped other people, and what she's been doing from just her health and fitness. So with all that being said, Julia, since we talked 2 years ago, kind of bring us up to speed. What are there any things that you've been doing differently, or you've been just continuing to do your things where you're moving and exercising and eating well? What's been new in your life in the past couple of years?
Well, I did bicycling for the first 8 or 10 years of my elderly life and enjoyed that. And at 100, I started running and thought that was wonderful. And I'm still hoping I can run. I walk every day and get out with a friend, and there's going to be a state meet coming up in Louisiana, and we've had to cancel 2 or 3 of the races I was going to be in. And now I think I'll try this state one. It's the first one that's come up. And I'm going to try to do the 100-yard dash. And it's in November of this year.
Wow. Now, one of the things I read in Runner's Magazine was it said here that you said, I've found that when I start running, my body pumps up and gives me whatever it takes to make me fly. When I run a race, I'm out of breath. And when I get to the end, I need to be caught by someone so I don't fall down. So does that mean you just go as fast as you can and then somebody at the end catches you?
Yes, most people when they run have to stagger at the end, sort of, because you've given it everything. You try to do the best you can. And I would manage without it, and I have managed without it. I like having somebody catch me. It's a good feeling to run up against something.
I love that. You also said in here your advice.
There is something about running that I forgot what the words are now for what happens, but something happens that gives you interest or the ability or the feeling for running. And you just get out there and all of a sudden you just want to do it. And you throw yourself forward, sort of. Do you ever run? If you ever have, you know what I'm talking about. Something about running that's,
Yeah.
your adrenaline gets going or something.
They call it a runner's high.
Runner's high. Well, you do get that. You do get that. But that picture of Runner's World was a sort of a joke to me because you can hardly see me down in the corner. I call it like looking for Waldo. It's so hard to see.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because you talk about the runner's high, but when a person, and I highly recommend if somebody goes to Amazon and they get your book, you have like a runner's high for how you've lived your life. This book is so full of what I call a life well lived that you've created. To me, it was so inspiring. And it's so inspiring that you continue to have that sense of wonder and excitement and what the future will hold. I mean, you're as expectant of wonderful things going forward as you were a few years ago when we talked. And I think that's an amazing thing that more people should really listen to.
I get magic moments all the time, every day almost. I have a bird nesting in my courtyard with 4 little eggs under her. And she's nesting in a pitcher plant that I've been raising. That has little pitcher plants coming out of it. And they eat insects, these little pitcher plants. And they, so maybe the bird is there for a reason. Maybe he can eat some of the little birds, the little insects that get in the pitcher plant. But anyway, a pitcher plant is such a fabulous plant itself. It's carnivorous and eats only insects, animal matter, and it even gets little bugs and things get in it. But anyway, that and my bonsai trees. I have bonsai trees that I take care of every day, and have about 25 left now. I had at one time 50. But each one of those trees needs work done on it every day. And some of them are 50 years old. I've had them. A few of them even raised from a seed.
Wow.
So anyway, life is full of many good things you can do. And I'm outside a lot. And I'm also reading a lot. Reading is an important thing in my life.
There's so much about reading that you talked about with you and your husband, where you would read to each other, which I thought was a wonderful story and things that you had shared with us. And you also were talking about, writing letters, and you were doing letters back and forth. Are you still writing letters in addition to reading at all?
Well, I can't write anymore at my age, but
Okay.
I do dictate letters to somebody that writes them for me. I do that a lot. I write 5 or 6 a day.
Wow.
So many of my friends, the few that I have left, so many of them are gone now, but they're sick all the time, and I have to write letters saying how sorry I am, and I hope they get better. They fall, they get pneumonia, or they get flu, and God forbid, but some of them have gotten the COVID. And it's just not fun when you get troubles like that. And I've been lucky not to have that
Yeah.
much. I feel like somebody's helping me. I almost fall a dozen times a day, and then something makes me realize my foot's under a piece of hose or something, and I need to step back.
Ah,
So that gives me a good feeling of having help from above.
yeah. Yep. Well, I think that so much of why you're so healthy, besides your exercise, is you just have a wonderful smile and a way of being calm and peaceful. And I know when I've talked to you before, there's just something very comforting. And I imagine that's just the way you've been to the people that have been in your family, as you being a mom and a wife, and then the people in your neighborhood. I have to imagine that those people would say that about you. You just have a very calming nature and a very positive nature, which is such a wonderful thing to see, especially in times like now, which are kind of hard for a lot of people.
I hope so. They say so. But you never know when people are just being kind to an old lady or whether they really mean it. But they say I'm an inspiration, and that makes me feel good because I keep wondering why I'm still here. That it's a time I was gone over there. But then I hear things that make me feel like maybe there is a reason I'm here. Maybe I can help a few people make life more pleasant. I try. I love to
Yeah,
make people happy. It's more than anything I like, more than anything else, really.
yeah.
When I call
Well,
somebody I haven't talked to in a long time and they say, "You made my day," and that's a magic moment when you can get a remark like that from a friend. And I've had that
yeah.
happen lately.
Well, I obviously don't know, but I think the reason why you've had this kind of life is that you are an inspiration for people. And I know, like I said, from your book, and anytime I pick it up and I can open it, and you sit there and you really realize that um, there's such potential for all of us, no matter what's going on. And you've had challenges in your life, like everyone does. But I think you've been around as almost like a North Star, a kind of a guiding light for people to see. Like when people think, well, when I was a kid, people that were 60 years old, 70, well, they were pretty well done. If that was it. And people like yourself are a great example where, you weren't that way. It's 70, 80, 90, 100, now 105. To me, you're a great example of if you have the right attitude and spirit and you're giving and you care and you move, that you have a chance to have a really long, as you would say, a wondrous life. I think that's what you have been giving people and continue to give people. And that's why when I saw you in the Runners magazine, it's like I said to Gloria, I said, we need to reach out and see what's up with Julia because, a couple years ago you were busy and active. And it's like, here you are in a magazine again at 105 and going strong as ever.
Don't give up. Keep going. You got to keep moving or you'll pan out.
Don't give up, keep moving. I love that. I love that. That's great, wise words for everybody to listen to. So, Julia, I know you're a busy woman. I know you got a lot of things on your list. Before we wrap up here today, besides you got to keep going and keep moving, which I think is a great way to share that with people. Do you have anything else that you want to share with us today? I'd love to know anything else you might want to share.
Well, one thing I do, go over my life often at night when I'm resting, and I don't know whether I'm sleeping or it's a dream, and I wake up and remember my dreams. But new things come back to me from what I've done before. A clearer memory of something that happened a long time ago. Last night, I think it was, I was thinking about a talk I heard one time. It was by somebody that was very, very great speaker. And it was how great is America? And it was so well done. And at the end of the speech, a flag at the end of this big auditorium, it must have had 1,000 or so people in it. And this flag, shot of air made it fly in the wind, and it was a perfect end to that wonderful speech about how great was America. And then here was this flag flying, and it was just the right thing at the right moment. And everybody was cheering and carrying on. Everybody standing up. It was really one of the most wonderful moments of my life, just thinking back on that. And that's how we can make ourselves stay alert and happy now, thinking what wonderful things we've seen and heard. I can't tell you how many wonderful ones I've seen and heard.
Yeah.
Anyhow, there are many of them. I could go on and on, but it's get the idea.
I think, Julia, I think that story. Julia, I think that story is a perfect story to end it on because, as you know, this Sunday is 4th of July and represents a lot of freedom and a lot of enjoyment for people. And I think that everybody that's watching this now and everyone who will watch it later, I want people to really, do a few things, reflect upon the things that Julia shared. I mean, it's truly been a wondrous life that you've lived. And will continue to live. And I think that you are an inspiration to lots of people and will continue to be in what I kind of call how to create a life that you love and live it well. You are the absolute poster woman for living a life that you created and one that you're living extremely well. And your gift of sharing what you've been doing with others gives other people an idea of what it looks like, what the future can be today and going forward. And I think that you've been an amazing gift to lots of people. And I thank you for the opportunity that we had a chance to talk before. We get a chance to talk today. And I look forward to being able to talk to you in the future. And I think I can talk to you again without waiting for you to be in another magazine. And I'm sure you're going to be in another magazine because you've been in a ton of them and on TV and on radio, because people love to hear the ongoing amazing journey of your wondrous life. So thank you, Julia. Thank you so much for being here and what you do for people. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.